are now listening to the Sportz Nutz.
Yes, you are watching the Sportz Nutz show. This is episode officially number 73. But again, like Matt, he teases me all the time with you can't count the others, but we can. It's like 120 whatevers. Hey guys, it has been an adventurous day indeed in the Southeast. We did end up getting some snow actually here in the upstate of South Carolina. We got a little over a dusting, about a half an inch. However, the big thing is it stuck to the roads, and that made for a nice icy mess. As Shane will happily tell you, he saw some of it too. I had a little bit of the icy roads on there. But hey, we're here. Matt will possibly join us, guys. Matt works at the Mall of Georgia in Beaufort, Georgia. They did get a good bit of the snow ice mixed together. So he's kind of sitting in traffic now, but he will join us when he can. In the meantime, you do have these three lovely faces. You might see something that's a little bit different in the background. Yes, folks, we have updated, or we have an alternate logo in the back. We have made it kind of the X-ray vision. Now it's black on white. We still do have our white as well. We will keep that always. But guys, we also have an outro video, which we will be debuting tonight. Cannot wait to get that going. Shane I don't know if you've seen it, but Hank has seen it. So, and Hank approves. But hey, we have a really good show lined up for you. Yeah, excuse my voice again. We had a game tonight. My daughter's team played a very unfair game. You can't win against the referees and the other team at the same time. But you know what? I'm proud of my girls. They did good. I told every one of them, keep your heads up. You gave it your all. That's all. Excuse me. That's all that matters. The results will come. So proud of my girls. We did good. It's okay. Brush it off. Be ready for the next game. We have a good lineup tonight. We have a good friend of ours, Brian Gebhardt from 680 The Fan, has joined us, guys. Remember, Brian came on this in season 2. I always have a lot of fun with him. He is a very good friend of ours. He loves to talk some good sports with us. He has great insights on pretty much every sport there ever was. So we're going to talk with him about that. Hey, the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame inductees have been announced, and Shane and I we're hot because some of the players that were not included should have been included. We'll talk a little bit about that one. Hey, Hank and I have been working our backsides off, and we have some updates for a guest, a very important guest. Thanks to this man right here for being persistent, we have locked in a very big guest. I can't wait to tell you guys who they are, so we will talk about them as well. Hey, we're going to also talk about, it is college basketball season. There's been some really good games. I did go to the Furman basketball game this weekend, actually. Saw them play Chattanooga. Chattanooga is actually a little scrappy team. Chattanooga came back, and we'll talk a little bit about the experience. And my daughter got to meet P.J. Smith Jr., the star point guard of Furman Paladins. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about the NFL playoffs. We'll talk about some NBA. We'll talk about the national championship, just how crazy it was. We got a whole lot of things going for you. We can't wait to go. And before we go any further, though, this man right here, Mr. Hank Russell, how are we doing, brother?
I'm good today, man. I'm good. I hadn't been feeling well the past few days, so I'm gonna push through here as long as I can. If I can do it the whole time, then I'm a stud. So there you go. Before I move though, when you get to Shane, you got to tell me what this surprise is you were talking about in private with us. So
yes, indeed. Hey guys, this gentleman right here, he laid down. He said he has a surprise for us. I'm eager to hear the surprise. I kind of have an idea, but Shane, how you doing, brother?
Oh man, doing good. Surprise. I'm surprised I kept it going this long without going it back, but we're probably going to see the beard coming back. I went through work the past couple of days, and man, it is cold up here, especially when you don't have a climate controlled work environment. So put a little something fluffy on his face. It isn't going to hurt for much. Plus, I can always cut it back off. See, this is only about a week. So,
but yeah, I just got a question, Brandon. Are you capable of growing a beard?
I am, and I hate it. No, I will never grow one though. After a day, I have so I shaved yesterday, and it's like overly prickly, and It itches like crazy. Yeah, I can't do it. I tried it once when I was in high school. Yeah, it was a stupid mistake.
Well, between the headphones and the pullover, you kind of look like Bill Belichick if he didn't have resting bee face.
You know what? Damn it! I don't have the flag. Hank, you know what? Flag on Hank. About time he finally got it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Now it's just, I was just like, well, because there is this kind of like, with the goatee, there is this kind of, early 2000s, late 90s, offensive coordinator look you got going on. So, I mean, it's cool.
Well, cool. And now, wait, hold on. Wait. I got to make it better. Let me get my sleeves up.
That's it. There you go.
No, I'm not Bill Belichick. Hey, guys, you see, we have fun here at the Sportz Nutz. Real quick, shout out to Sam Fehoko. We had a wonderful episode with him last week. Stella, go away, Stella. Sorry, Stella wants to be on the show too. But we had a really good episode with Sam Fehoko. Great family. Check them out, the Fehoko family. Got a compliment from Braden Fehoko, the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive tackle. He really enjoyed the show, shared it. TJ Watt, everybody has reached out to us. So yeah, we had some really good times on that one. If you haven't checked it out, go check out episode 72 we had with Sam Fehoko, the new assistant linebackers coach at Northeastern State University. Also, episode 72, Casey Smurthwaite, really good in college insider. Enjoyed everything. So, hey, give a quick shout out, to our sponsor, Tequila's Grill and Easily. Look, guys, authentic, affordable, and delicious Mexican cuisine is literally right around the corner when you're at Easily. Come today, try out Shane's favorite, which is the all-inclusive homemade salsa bar. Matt and mine's favorite, which is literally everything on the menu. The buy one, get one 50% off happy hour drink specials they have. Really good. And they have some good cervezas, Shane will be happy to tell you about those. And look, guys, they have everything you want. Great queso, great company, great friends. Stop them by today, 5455 Calhoun Memorial Highway, Easley, South Carolina, 29640, or better yet, give them a call, 864-307-8028. Guys, let's go ahead and bring our guest on, Mr. Brian Gebhardt of 680 Fan. Brian, welcome to the show, man. How you been, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm cold right now, just like the rest of you guys. Like this is nonsense here in the South for us. Like we had our one little winter storm. I'm over it. It's good. Coming past. I'm ready for pollen season. Then we can do the hot summer. I'm back to football. You know what I mean?
Hey, it is. Look, I'm okay. I want one more snow event in like another 3 weeks of cold, because why? It reduces the bug population by 30%. And I don't know about you, man, but I'm over bugs. We had these little white sand flea thingy, whatever, last year. They made your legs tear up. The chiggers were really bad around here. Yeah, it was gross. So I'm okay with it having a little less of the. Oh wait, this is for you, Brian. Mr. Abe Gordon. Oh no, not BG. LOL. Great to see you, Abe Gordon, ladies and gentlemen. Abe will be joining us. I'm excited to have him come on again. He will be coming on at the end of the month. Cannot wait to talk to our good friend Abe Gordon.
Yeah.
All right, so Brian,
Abe and I used to work together for a minute, so good to hear from Abe. Yeah.
All right, so I got a quick give all right. So guys, I coached tonight. I got to give a shout out to the Dominators, my daughter's team. We got blown out. It's okay though, because you like I said, you can't win against the referees and the other team. You can only win against one or the other. They gave their heart. They played their heart out. And they had nothing to keep their heads down about. They did fantastic. Coach Channing and I and all the parents, we were super proud of all the girls. And shake it off. We have practice on Sunday. Next game coming up. So, all right. So I'm going to ask you this, Brian. I'm going to dive right into it. We've seen a season of what in the world in Atlanta, Kirk Cousins, what happened? We thought there was the possibility he could take a step back, the Achilles injury, the age, that kind of stuff. Well, he started out good. He looked hot. 500 yards in one game. The dude was on fire. And then the free for all came. And then we really saw the downfall of him. Do you think this is it? Do you think Kirk Cousins is going to hang it up, or do you think some weary team is going to bite at the bullet, take a possibly washed up quarterback as the potential for their leading their franchise for a year?
It depends if he wants to play or not, right? Because is he a starter in the league anymore? Maybe for one of the lesser teams in the league, could he fight for a starting position? If he's willing to be a backup and kind of ride it out in a almost Andy Dalton type of way, I can see him having that kind of second half of his career if he wants to, right? Because he's made a ton of money. So it really depends on if he's ready to hang it up, if what the next step is for him. He's been able to maximize his bank account and his contracts, and he's done an excellent job with that throughout his career. So I imagine he's going to be playing for, I would guess, 2 more seasons if he wants to. But to be a starter next year and for a team to expect him to be a starter, I think would be a bit of a stretch.
And there's just been I'm not going to point my finger solely just at Kirk, because everybody takes a play in this, has their hand in it, because Coach Raheem Morris, I feel, and a lot of people feel this way too, he kept Kirk Cousins out there too long. And we saw the lack of confidence that he had. Yeah. The Raiders game, he only threw for 140 yards or something like that, which is uncharacteristic. You could see his heart was not really there anymore. There was this report that came out that suggested that maybe his arm strength was gone. Like he couldn't play quarterback anymore. I don't know if that's true, but what do you think? Hank, let me ask you this too, Hank. Do you think that he really just he can't play anymore, or is it maybe it was just all in the mental aspect?
I'm going to say more of the mental aspect, because how old is he? What is he, 33, 34? He hasn't.
Brian, how old is he, Brian?
Oh, Cousins is 35, I think. Give or take a year. But
which is twilight years, but that's like 5 more years for the best of them. Look at Aaron Rodgers and Ben Roethlisberger and a handful of others. But no, I think it's mental. I think it's a little bit of distress considering the fact that he was coming off of a major injury, but when he got this contract, a lot of pressure. Obviously he's a veteran quarterback, but when you get older, I've heard that your confidence on the field goes away a little bit more. Your brain's bigger, but you know that you're not the same as you were when you were 26. It's just how it is. And my personal opinion, I think that I kind of like what Brian said. I think if he went backed up for a major, he could start for maybe somewhere like the Jaguars, or maybe back up for somewhere like the Cowboys or something like that. You either back up for a big team, or you start for a lesser market team.
You're right, Brian. I don't know if you've heard this, Shane, Hank. There is this lonely franchise who's had a quarterback every year since in existence, a new one. He was linked to the Cleveland Browns, and we saw that Deshaun Watson tore his Achilles again, which pretty much means you're done. It's time for him to hang it up. What do you think, Brian? Do you think he waives his no-trade clause and goes to a team like Cleveland?
If it was Cleveland, because Cleveland's drafting a quarterback, they're at number 2. They're going to take one of those guys, whether it's Cam Ward or Shador, whichever one that, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Dion and all of that. But that's a perfect spot, like a place who's going to draft a rookie. Can he go be the backup veteran? Can he go be, Joe Flacco to an Anthony Richardson? You know what I mean? That's the type of role he could be. I think it'd be great, if he just wants to play and wants a chance to win and wants a chance to just be a backup in case, the starter gets hurt. It'd be really funny to see him go back to Washington now that they've put together a successful run with Jaden Daniels in the first year. Backing up someone like that would be a perfect spot for him, where he's got no pressure. And if he has to come in, he'll still be capable of making some throws.
I agree. What do you think, Shane?
Well, it's funny. I think that it'd be more on the end of possibly the Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy kind of deal that the Vikings took over. If he does go to Cleveland, hey, we think that he's done and out. It's a little bit different. Sam Darnold just never lived up to any kind of hype that he was given. Kurt's coming back from a major injury and stuff like that. I knew his production would fall off in the second half of the season, but to end up getting benched and stuff like that. But he's a good enough quarterback, especially you put him in the right situation. I think that he will become a starter, and I mean, Cleveland might be a good spot for him. Could become the starter, and hey, who knows? Whenever you're drafting these quarterbacks high, I mean, we all know the greatest bust of all time. Tim Couch, and what he was promised to be to that same organization whenever he came out. So, to give yourself as an organization a veteran starter in the helms while you're going into the draft, it's a big deal. But then, as you said, it all depends on whether or not he's going to accept no trade clause. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, and that. So I got to commend Kirk Cousins, obviously, because the dude was smart to get it front loaded as well, and has had that no trade clause. Look, I understand the first 2 years they're heavy front loaded contract, and then you kind of you're okay taking the dead hits at the end. But I mean, I really don't see Fontenot keeping a $40 million backup. I just can't see him doing that. But I mean, Fontenot has not really lived up to the expectations that many had hoped as the Atlanta GM. What do you think, Brian? Do you think Terry will hold on to him, or do you think Terry will try and work some quote Terry magic where he's supposedly cooking for a sort of a reprieve from the Kirk Cousins contract?
He's going to get cut after the season ends, and it's just the easiest thing for both at this point. For the team, it'd be perfect. In a perfect world, could they trade him and that happens? Yes, but teams are going to have to pay more in that trade than just waiting until Cousins gets cut. And then Cousins can also then pick wherever he wants, even though, again, he has the no trade clause now. But they have to cut him. They'll still owe him money on top of that. And then he can choose whatever destination he wants from there at whatever price. I mean, because he'll be signing again another new contract, which will be wild if someone decides to overpay like a Cleveland, who's in a mess right now at their quarterback situation.
And I have nothing against Kirk. Kirk was a great quarterback. He did great things at Michigan State, did great things at Washington, great things at Minnesota. Started out good in Atlanta, then got cold real quick and became the least liked person. But, I have no ill will. I wish him well wherever he goes. But clearly we saw what Penix is capable of, and I think now that he's going to have a full off season to really learn how to function in the NFL, I think we will see better. And, I'm still up in the fence about Zach Robinson. I told the guys recently, I feel like Zach Robinson got some of his offensive play calling from Madden. That's just my idea of it. Because, some of the plays he did were very boneheadish. But, that's not to say every offensive coordinator does it, because they do. But, we saw Jimmy Lake come in, and he ran a defense that has not really been run in the NFL since like the early 2010s, the 3-4. And, one thing that I have beat my brain around, my friend Chase and my cousin Cody, which they have their own show as well, Dirty Fanatics United. Why do you think, Brian, that Atlanta since 2016 on has run a zone? It could be a 4-3 zone or a 3-4 zone. Why is it that Atlanta feels they should just run zones all the time and not be more of a man-on-man or even be more of a blitz team?
Well, a couple different reasons. They haven't had the right people running the defense, but the main reason is, the groceries at the store. Who's playing on this defense? The defenses simply haven't been talented. Has there been a talented player or two on defenses throughout the year? Yes. I mean, look at this last year. Jesse Bates is a terrific football player, but he's really the only standout at any position. AJ Terrell's a really good corner. Is he one of the best in the league? No. Is he one of the better ones in the league? Sure. Outside of that, everybody is average or below average and perform that way on the defense in that spot. So until the Falcons commit and actually hit on being able to get a pass rusher to build up the defensive line or the front seven, whether a combination of just getting after the quarterback, they're not going to be able to be in that top half of a defense, which they haven't been in a long time, and once they get some of these pass rushers it's going to help with the rest of the defense. It's going to help, get after the quarterback. It'll help stop the run. It'll help with coverage in the secondary. So at this point now, out of all the resources that have been invested on the offensive side between Penix and Drake London and Bijan Robinson and just Kyle Pitts, who's been a whiff, and the money they just spent on Kirk Cousins, whatever assets you have are capable of between draft picks and money this year has to be invested on the defensive side of the ball.
I agree 100%. Obviously, we can say that the Judon experiment is over. I don't think it worked very well.
No.
Obviously, it cost us a draft pick. But, now here's a name that I have seen mentioned a lot. A couple of names, actually. Abdul Carter has been mentioned, but the sleeper that I've heard through so many mock drafts, like WalterFootball.com, they have continuously had Mike Green, the edge rusher out of Marshall, falling into the Falcons' lap at 15 as their edge. And Terry has not really drafted any big, solid edge rushers since he's been at the helm. Who do you think would be a good selection at 15 for Atlanta?
I would, going to be a little bit of a homer. I would head right down to Athens, Georgia, and take Jalen Walker, who I think is going to be an absolute menace in the NFL. If you see the comparisons that he's getting by a lot of people is Micah Parsons. Like, that's what he shows on film. I'm not saying he's going to make a Micah Parsons-like impact because Micah Parsons is simply one of the best pass rushers in the league. But if that's his upside and his capability, give me some Jalen Walker.
What do you think, Shane? Who do you think would be a good addition for Atlanta? Who would be the best defensive player to fall into Atlanta's lap come 15?
Well, I can tell you, you said Abdul Carter. Unless they move up, he's not going to be there. He's just that good of a player. And what I think
one can wish, though, right?
I mean, that's if he's up there when Carolina's there, Carolina's picking him or Graham, either or. Is where I think that their direction is going to go. So both of them will be off the board in the top 10. We've seen crazier things happen, but Atlanta's got a lot of pieces needed, kind of to shore up the defense. They don't need kind of a splash. I think that this draft is a heavy. You're going to get your premier tackles up front in the draft. But you could see somebody fall into Atlanta like that. And instead of making the big splash like they did last year, kind of go conservative because, the other pieces that you need that you can gain in the draft, say corners and linebacking, possibly even an edge rusher. You'll be able to kind of fill some of those roles with not so much of your marquee matchups, especially selected kind of middle of the road at 15. You kind of want to bolster up the defense side, be it on either side of the ball, because that's where, most every championship's won is on the defensive side of the ball or in the trenches. So I see him going more that direction, but you never know how the draft ends up, working out in certain people's favors.
You're right. You have to right. Before I go to you, Hank, I want to ask Brian real quick. Brian, do they re-sign Justin Simmons, or was it just a one-and-done kind of thing?
It was just a one-and-done kind of thing, and I thought he was going to have a little bit better of a year, but he struggled. I mean, he had very, very few moments, but overall, I mean, his production was not what it's been, and he's one of those guys. It happens quickly, right? And with him, it did. So I think he's just I don't know if he's in the league next year. Like, I mean, he'll probably somewhere, but yeah, I think he might have one more season left in him.
And that's tough to say because there were so many people that were saying now that Justin Simmons was with Atlanta and Jesse Bates, that was going to be a shutdown secondary, and we saw it really wasn't. It really was disappointing. Hank, I'm going to go to you, Hank. You're an Oakland Raiders fan, Hank. So you're in the midst of seeing like a rebuild. It's coming. It's going to come. And I'm going to date myself a little bit. I remember watching Rich Gannon lead the team to the Super Bowl. I remember what kind of a player he was. And, the quarterback situation going on in Oakland right now. I mean, gosh, it's called them Oakland. The Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, it's kind of like do you remember the game Duck Duck Goose? It's kind of like that Duck Duck Goose. I'm choosing you to be the quarterback this week.
Mm-hmm.
And Desmond Ridder. I commend the Davises for trying to hope that he would do something, but obviously he was never going to answer. Who do you think as your for your franchise? We're going to switch to the Raiders real quick. Who do you think Vegas selects? Gosh, Vegas selects as their pick. Why do I keep saying Oakland? I don't know.
It don't matter. I say Oakland all the time too. It don't matter. Las Vegas all of a sudden has a football culture. Give me a break.
So who do you think is your team that you select? Like, who do you want to be selecting at your draft choice?
Tell you the truth, I'm not that impressed with any of the quarterbacks coming out of this draft. I'm just not. There's not a whole lot of like pizzazz or like you're going to get a good production out of a starting rookie quarterback or anything like that. I might as well pick Sanders. I might as well pick Deion's boy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because at least we'll get the notoriety and attention. Because I'm not impressed with. I'm really not. I mean, I don't want to be. So I'll take the attention if we're gonna throw away another draft pick, then we might as well get the attention.
What do you think, Brian? Do you think Vegas takes a shot in the dark and gets Shedeur?
Well, I'll tell you, if Shedeur slides, because I like Shedeur. Heading into the season, I was like, I hadn't really seen enough, but I thought he got better. I thought he progressed. Is he like a sure, no brainer, no doubt about it, like surefire number one pick? No. But do I think he's the best quarterback in the draft? Yes, which means he'll probably go number one to the Titans, or it's him and Cam Ward. I feel like are grouped in that spot. Well, what I would fear for the Raiders, because they pick, Hank, where do you guys pick? Like 4 or 5, 6? It's right in that range, right?
Yeah, it's in that range. I'm somewhere around there.
It's right in that range. So, because I think both those guys, unless the Raiders trade up, right? I think Cam and Shedeur might be off the board, and then that's where I think someone's going to reach for that third quarterback, whether it be a Quinn Ewers or a Jackson Dart or like someone like that. And I don't think those guys are that good. So for the Raiders' sake, I hope they wind up drafting someone who can play for them right away. One of these defensive guys or one of these offensive linemen that Shane was talking about how deep it is in this draft.
Right. Well, if Sanders kid, a year or so ago, he's having they're doing him and Deion and Tom Brady are having a conversation between the three of us live, right? And Sanders is on there asking about his, hey, is it cool for a college student to wear this and drive this and all that stuff? Tom Brady says, man, you need to get your ass in the film room. Quit worrying about what you look like and what you're trying to do. Clearly, dude is knocking boots at least twice a day. So, I mean, but how seriously do I take somebody who doesn't take the game that seriously? That's what I'm saying. And Denver suffered with Paxton Lynch because of that.
Yes.
So,
and Paxton Lynch, I mean, is he still in the UFL? I don't even know where he's at now.
I don't know.
That just goes to show. But I'm looking at all right. So you said Tennessee would probably be willing to like take a quarterback, Brian. But would they really want to give up on the Will Levis experiment there?
Oh, I think they already have. I think it's already been a miss. They're moving on. Once you get rid of the GM who drafted your quarterback and he's already had the 2 years, I think they're going to move on. I think they'll actually try to move him if they can. They'll probably just wind up keeping him as the backup, but they're going quarterback there. Whoever that quarterback is at one, I don't know. That'll be the new GM. I didn't see who it was, who they wound up hiring, but I know they let the last guy go who had the Levis pick. So yeah, I think the Titans definitely go with the quarterback at number 1.
I mean, you can't really go wrong with getting rid of the Mr. Mayo and coffee guy.
Yeah, man.
Which,
can't trust somebody to do it to that. Can't trust them.
Yeah. That's gross.
Yeah. But you know what? Character has a lot to do with it this year. I'm telling you, because none of them are really impressive as far as like, Penix and others last year. So it's going to be down to character. Who's coachable? Who's going to show up to the film room more than they are trying to look good? Who is the
it factor?
Exactly.
I see this draft going this year. You've got a lot of teams that could, Tennessee at 1, but you've got New York, the Giants, sitting there. There's a lot of top end trade targets that we've all seen draft day as sports fans. That's historic moves that were made. Being based on a true story, not actually what happened. But you can make some stuff, especially if you've got within the top 5 picks now. If you're not dead set on, because I'm looking at it, it's a deep draft, but it's not a great draft. You're going to have a lot of lifers in the NFL, as far as, especially like I said, on the interior side of the ball, because it's just that top heavy. But there's not anyone that just stands out and says, hey, they're number 1, they're number 2, they're number 3, other than Travis Hunter. And Genty is probably the second best player in the nation going into the draft. But we're not on a running back, kind of thing. It's become more prevalent thanks to Derrick Henry and Saquon and all. But he I believe will be the only running back selected in the first round, if not the first 2. For
obvious reasons.
Yeah, but I say, there's a lot of draft capital that you could gain by being that 1 through 5 pick, especially this year, depending on how needy other teams are and wanting to address it.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have that opportunity, jump on it,
Yeah.
What do you think, Hank?
I agree. I think old boy is going to be the guy that, as far as like, the only running back that's going to come out of the first round is old boy from Boise State. Everybody tells me his name all the time, and I keep forgetting it. I'm not gonna lie. Ashton Genty. I'm gonna remember that if it kills me. But
not Montgomery, but Ashton.
Montgomery Gentry. Yeah, that's right. I know exactly what everybody's talking about now. I don't listen to a lot of country music, but I like this. I like back when it was still.
And you live in Tennessee, where country music comes from, and you don't listen to much of it. Now, come on now.
I'm from Memphis. Blues.
Blues.
Shane, throw the flag, though. Throw the flag.
No, I'm with him. I'm a blues man myself. Like Marcus King, he's from the upstate. I love Marcus King.
Yeah, Marcus King's great.
He's a little bit more on the rock side, but he's kind of bluesy. So,
who's Marcus King? So,
Marcus King. You've never heard of Marcus King?
Okay, Shane, throw the flag.
I'll send you
you got to throw the flag.
Yeah, you got to throw the flag on that.
Throw the flag, Shane. Throw the flag. Come on.
I'm just keeping it a buck. Like I didn't know who Morgan Wallen was until 6 months ago.
You should check out Marcus King, man. If you like, it's like a blues.
What?
It's very rocky blues,
Yeah.
I know. I look. If you want to talk about Tennessee whiskey blues type stuff, I like Uncle Lucius. He's one of my favorites.
Oh yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I got to see him play, so it's cool.
We obviously could talk about like the draft because we have all this time in the world now. But I'm going to switch it up, because tonight was a really big night for some baseball fans. They didn't get the choice that they had hoped. Ichiro, CC Sabathia, Wagner got put into it. Let me ask you this, Brian: what is it going to take for the ballot, the Hall of Fame ballot people, whatever you want to call them, to put Andrew Jones into the daggone Hall of Fame? The dude did phenomenal things. He is the youngest player to hit a home run in the World Series. They still have I'm pretty sure somewhere hit the indentation where his cleats landed at Fulton County Stadium when he caught that home run ball. Like, what is it going to take to put Andrew Jones into the Hall of Fame?
I don't know. It's so frustrating because with him, I think any player in any sport who's the best or one of right at the top, one of the best at their position for a 5 to 7 year stretch. All of those people should go into the Hall of Fame. And you can't talk about the history of center fielders, especially during the first half, the first 3/4 of Andrew's career, without talking about him being as good as anyone in the game at that spot. And I think for him, the only reason, like, he should definitely be in, but I think there's two thoughts with Andrew Jones not getting in. I think the reasons might be after he was done with Atlanta, the big markets that he played for, in terms of Chicago and New York and LA, he didn't really do much for those teams. And so, you think about the writer influence and the big media markets that have that, influence on the overview of it. And unfortunately, he didn't really do well. So a lot of those people think of Andrew as the old washed up Andrew Jones, because what happened is it fell off quickly for him. I think if he faded a little bit more, it would have been really easy to put him in as opposed to that real sharp decline he had. But it's a shame because we all know it. I mean, take my Braves fandom out of it. I mean, if I was a Cincinnati Reds fan, you knew that Andrew Jones was the best center fielder in baseball, and he should be in that thing.
You're right. And our good friend, it's funny you say the Cincinnati Reds, our good friend Coach Finch just said Pete Rose needs to be in there, and you're absolutely right. He does need a chance. Pete Rose is not, unfortunately, not with us anymore. He did pass away, but hey, he did the time. He did the crime. He's done his time. Give the man what he rightfully, his name rightfully deserves to be a part of history. He did phenomenal things as a player. He did great things as a coach. Things that players will never probably ever be able to do again. It's just the way the game is. So give Pete what is this just desserts. All right, so let me ask you this. All right, so I'm agreeing with this with Ichiro. Ichiro deserves it. He was a player unlike any other player we have seen for that time.
99
great things.
99% voted him in. So I believe everybody's basically in agreement with that.
Yeah. That was absolutely the best choice, was to have Ichiro in there. But I'm going to go to you. Start with you, Brian. Would you agree, though, with CC Sabathia getting in before? Gosh, I mean, who is the bloody sock? Kurt Schilling. Would you put him above Kurt Schilling?
Yeah, well, Kurt Schilling's partially not in because of his political views, which is dumb because that's another media thing that we do. CC Sabathia, because this was his first time, I think, on the ballot, right? I was surprised that maybe he didn't have to wait it out at all if this was his first time. But you talk about what he was able to do in the playoffs in that 1 year when he got traded in the middle of the season. I think it was the Indians to the Brewers or vice versa. And he just kept pitching, and he pitched every 2 or 3 days like it was 1886. And it was like the dead ball era. And CC was like, just give me the ball. Just give me the ball. So I think the idea of having those postseason moments, and to your point with Kurt Schilling too, he should be in the Hall of Fame. But he had sort of a Kurt Schilling-esque kind of career where it's like, that is the guy I wanted on the mound when it mattered the most and it was the biggest moment. You wanted CC on the mound. So I don't have an issue with him getting in it all, but I'm, the gatekeepers and everything, I'm surprised he may have didn't have to wait a year.
Look, I'm okay with Billy Wagner getting it too. Billy Wagner did Mariano Rivera kind of things. I mean, he deserved to be in it, right? So I'm okay with it. But so now that we know the three that got in, let's talk about the almost gets in, right? And this is where Shane is upset about. Look, I think Carlos Beltran should have gotten in as well. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, another guy you go to the couple different postseason runs that he's had. I don't know his total numbers off the top of my head, because this thing, especially with outfielders, they look straight to those power numbers. How many home runs did you have? How many RBI did you have? Those kind of statistics pop the most. So I don't know where that ranks compared to some of the other guys. But again, you just think about a guy who was clutch for so many years and someone you didn't want up if you were the opposing team at any point in a big moment. And Beltran was one of those guys. But I would imagine his numbers don't stack up to some of the other outfielders that we've had recently.
I apologize. My phone's going like crazy. Pickens County is an e-learning day. And so schools, they announce with text, with emails, with phone calls and everything else. And my phone literally has been going crazy. So I apologize that I keep looking at, but here is a name that if I had the choice to vote, I would never put him on, is Alex Rodriguez. He was too juiced up a lot during that time. I felt he cheated a lot. And what sticks out a lot though is when he was in that one postseason game, he went and he slapped the ball out of the opposing team's hand. I don't think Alex Rodriguez will ever get in. What do you think? I'm going to ask all of you. Start with you, Shane. Do you think Alex Rodriguez ever gets in?
From his body of work, I think they deserve. I'm more frustrated off of the percentage votes that I saw, like say from your Manny Ramirez, your Andy Pettit's, all the ones linked to the steroids era, which I think is a kind of hindrance on Andrew Jones because he's linked and prevalent in that era as a great outfielder. And I think that the media and all the way that they vote now skews it, to kind of not get into that mumbo jumbo they've been linked to steroids, blah, blah, blah. How can you put them in the Hall of Fame? We've said it plenty of times. If you're not cheating, you ain't trying. But I saw, Manny Ramirez is one of the, kind of most prolific steroid kind of players that you didn't hear a lot of, like other than Roger Clemens and Alex Rodriguez and stuff like that. You heard him linked to it, but you didn't hear him in those top three with Barry Bonds, but that's hindered him from getting in. And the media percentage points, it takes 75%, over 75% to get into the Hall of Fame. Through all the media conglomerates that there are, they have to vote you in over 75%. So, I think Major League Baseball kind of needs to sit back and reevaluate what's going on here, because you have a lot of players that are getting in because they were never linked to steroids or being so against steroids from that era. Just because they had decent numbers. We're talking about a Hall of Fame in a sport. We don't talk about it in football. We've got people that were linked to, PEDs and, Brett Favre. He took opioids during games. Something that is absolutely illegal, it was frowned upon in the eyes of the law outside in the street with everyday life. So I think Major League Baseball needs to do an overhaul. I think it's ridiculous. You have a class of, what was it, 16 kind of major names that could have been a part of this Hall of Fame class. And because you deal with the same 75%, you only selected 3, although probably 7 to the 16 were more than deserving to get in. So that's one thing that's got me, kind of irked. But Andrew Jones, that's his thing. He deserves to be in, but because of the era that he came up through playing the game, not specifically being linked, but not specifically being that superstar. He was that quiet superstar. So right. That's one of those things that you kind of look at, but being quiet, it doesn't put you in the media, like you said. So, I remember on a couple of those runs, Andrew was a an anchor, not only in the lineup, but in the locker room that gets you to these places. So, it's kind of, I'm ready to be done with it and overhaul it. They did college football last year. Let's do Major League Baseball Hall of Fame voting this year.
That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. Hank, I know you have to run because you have something you got to handle, but I want to hear your thoughts real quick on, with Alex Rodriguez. And all right, so I'm going to throw a couple names. Alex Rodriguez, will he ever get in? Will Manny Ramirez ever get in? And what about Andy Pettit? Go.
No. Baseball is too traditional. Baseball is way too traditional. Always has been. And guess what? Pete Rose may get in the Hall of Fame, but guess what? He had to be on death row. Death is what paid for his crime. And I have a strange feeling that's going to be the same way with this. It's just that simple. I wish I could elaborate a little bit more on it, but that's how baseball is. Although I did see somebody get hit with a bat, and then the pitcher retaliated, gave him a nice little strawberry on his hip, and they kicked him out of the game. So some traditions are going away in baseball, but apparently
that's one thing I respected about CC. He did that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And but the problem with baseball is it has a very short fuse when it comes to forgiveness, and I cannot stand that. I think that they all should be in the Hall of Fame. Should they be first ballot for their crimes? Probably not. Probably not. But Pete Rose, going back to Pete Rose, I mean, the guy changed the game. The guy had more. I mean, I don't think anybody's gotten within 800 hits of his record. At least not to the best. Yeah. At least I can't remember. I don't know who's got the second place title for most hits in a career. And he did that with only scoring 132 home runs. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Some of the most impressive records in sports. And they don't let him in because he gambled a little bit nearly 50 years ago.
Yeah. And which, by the way, that's a weird thing to think that was that long ago, but you're right. And here's all right. So I want to tag on that with real quick on you, Hank, and then we'll let you go. But what about Shoeless Joe Jackson? The Black Sox situation, I think he has a legit opportunity. I think he should get put into the Hall of Fame. What do you think, Hank?
Shoeless Joe Jackson's been dead for almost 80 years. I'm pretty sure that he's served his time. And if you don't put Shoeless Joe Jackson in the Hall of Fame, then people 15 years younger than us who don't really watch baseball like we did growing up, and the name Shoeless Joe Jackson is going to be only mentioned in the movie Field of Dreams.
Mm-hmm. That's right. All right, so guys, Hank has to run. He has something he has to attend to. We're thank you for coming on, Hank. I will talk to you soon, my man. Get some rest, all right, brother.
Thank you, man.
All right, guys. I want to give a quick update on Matt. He will not be joining us, Brian. And I know you probably have been watching WSB, Fox 5 Atlanta, and all the other reports. Guess what happened in 2025? We didn't learn from in 2013 is Snowmageddon. Matt is sitting in the same exact spot he has sat in for 3 hours.
Oh no! Oh no! I was a part of that last time too.
All right, I'm going to show you guys. All right, this is what he is seeing right now. Is that one, and that, and let's see. I think he sent me another one.
Oh, I can't. What is that? Oh, okay.
All right, so here's. All right, I'm gonna go on the single
checkers
here. All right, so here is what he's is currently looking at. Same spot.
Oh, geez.
And then this is the checkers. If I get there, that's the checkers.
He should just park and go get it.
I don't even see anybody there.
They probably closed.
That's weird. They're probably closed.
But you never know. Who knows?
That's right. But I will tell you this, folks. If you are in the Metro Atlanta, North Metro, even if you're in it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we
haven't learned. But Brian, we AT aliens don't learn worth of crap when it comes to the snow. I mean, here we are, a little over 10 years, little over 10 years since the last one, and it happened again. So Matt will not be unfortunately joining us. He is sitting. Hopefully, he is able to get out and go get some food or something.
If he's sitting, he can get on there with us.
All right, I'm going to show you this picture he sent me too, and this is actually a legit picture. So I asked if he was coming on, right? All right, get to that. Come on. All right, we'll tap that. I'm going to show you his screen. Okay, his battery life. If you can, let's see, right there. Do you see it?
Uh-oh.
Oh no!
He's at 2%.
Oh no, that's terrible. Yeah. All right, we'll put that.
So
he should still try to park and go to Checkers and see if they're open. I mean, if you're sitting there, you gotta at least grab a burger, and they got like the best fries.
They got
yes,
fries.
Yeah, they got good fries. I got to roll in a minute here too, boys. I did want to, if you guys don't mind, I wanted to give my 2 cents on the A-Rod thing.
Please do. Let's do go right to you.
A couple of the different stations in Atlanta, I'm like a known A-Rod hater, but I hated him. I've hated him so much. I hated him when he was, on the Mariners, and when he went to the Rangers, and when he went to the Yankees, and when he was a broadcaster, and when he was on Shark Tank, and when he tried to buy the Timberwolves. I'm glad that didn't happen, but he's a player who belongs in the Hall of Fame, and so does Shoeless Joe Jackson, and so does Pete Rose, and so does Manny Ramirez. Baseball only shames itself, and they police themselves in this odd way where it's like they were the ones who screwed it up. My biggest problem with the steroid era is that Bud Selig, the commissioner at the time, knew what was going on and basically promoted it. He turned the other cheek, and then all baseball did was try to ride the wave of these massive home run numbers. You guys remember, we're all of certain ages where, in 98, you remember that home run chase. You remember
Sammy Sosa,
trying to get 96. I'm sorry if I screwed up the year, but the late 90s runs of those home run chases where you're like, there was such a big deal. And again, are they going to get to 60? Are they going to get 65? They going to get 70, and it was such a thing. And it almost had this revival of baseball at that time for a lot of people, because it was after the strike, and and baseball boomed again in the late 90s and the early aughts and everything. Everyone hopped back on because we were hitting bombs and it was fun, and baseball rode out this wave. And then they decided to shame everybody on the back end because they celebrated it the whole time. And it's just like, it didn't make any sense. So if you want to put these guys in like a different wing or something, in terms of the ones that you look at in terms of Manny's and A-Rods and Barry Bonds and Shoeless Joe Jacksons and Pete Rose, like, these guys are all some of the best baseball players of all time. They belong in the Hall of Fame. If you want to put them in their own wing of they didn't follow the rules to a T or something, sure. But to act like these guys weren't a part of the history of the game and some of the best players ever, it's stupid. It's ridiculous. And it insults everybody's intelligence who watch them play baseball too.
God, you just hit the nail on the head. Like, stop analyzing what they did for the game. They did phenomenal things for the game. I mean, we didn't see a 75 plus home run hitter in a single season. We didn't see that. We in our life, none of us here saw Roger Maris do it, with his 62 home runs or whatever he got. So you're right. Don't penalize the greatness that helped build baseball into America's pastime. I agree. Let every player get the chance, and I mean, heck, we have so many XYZ players going in every year for the NFL. We have so many players going in for the NHL. We have players going in for MLS. I mean, like, give the players their just desserts. They did the time. Let them reap the benefits that they did a phenomenal game. Look, we can't say we played a game like that. I mean, Andrew Jones literally scaled a wall. Otis Nixon scaled a wall. I mean, let's see who else. Like Mark McGwire. Yes, he is Mark McGwire, but the dude belted, so many home runs. Sammy Sosa did too. Yeah. Sammy Sosa also corked his bat, but he still was a heck of a baseball player. Don't penalize them for being extraordinary athletes. They really were extraordinary athletes, and I hate that they have been excluded from the possibility of being able to reap the fame that they so hardly worked for to get. I mean, they worked day and night. They were there from sun up to sundown to get better, and they did, and then they're being penalized. And you're right, Bud Selig did. He had his hand in there, and I agree. Well, Brian, it has been an absolute blast having you on. We're definitely want to have you on again, but can you please tell everybody where they can find you and, how can they listen to you on the radio even?
Yeah, absolutely. Twitter, X, I'm at Brian. That's Brian with an I _ Gebhardt, GEBHARDT. You can hear me as kind of the third mic on the radio with Chuck and Chernoff, 2 to 6, 6A The Fan in Atlanta. Download the 6A The Fan app. You can take it with you anywhere. And I'm on the weekend sometimes. I'll be on 1 to 3 this weekend if you download that 6A The Fan app before the AFC and NFC championship games. And if you're in Atlanta, swing on by. We're going to be in Vinings at a place called Padrick's. Which
I know that is
that way. Yeah. So come on through. If you guys are in there, anybody who's listening, and stop on by, we're going to be watching the games. So, but appreciate you guys. This was a lot of fun. And thank you guys for letting me be on with you.
No, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. And we'll talk again soon, Brian. You take care of yourself. Please be safe and don't go driving in that awful traffic.
Yeah, you guys got it. Have a good night.
You too.
You too, bud.
Shane, I want to continue on this talk though about Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. We see some phenomenal. We've seen some phenomenal players in our time, and I agree with Brian. Let them all be on. What do you think?
I'm I'm with them. I mean, the thing that kills me is because of the so-called steroid era and the negativity based upon it. They weren't the only ones doing this at that time. There are still some players that never got caught that were doing it that are at the Hall of Fame, ceremonies, because they're enshrined now. My thing is this is a part of baseball. Everybody, we all grew up around it. You said Sammy Sosa. I give Sammy Sosa kind of a backseat because he was actually caught with a corked bat.
Yep, I remember that. I remember that game too.
So that's a definite, of the cheating violation, and which that had always been a rule. But people skated around it. I think that it would be best for baseball to put these players in that meant so much to the game, via Roger Clemens, Manny Ramirez, Kurt Schilling, Barry Bonds, Pete Rose, Shoeless
Torrey
Joe.
Hunter, even.
Yeah, I mean, we've got, there's too many people that are left out of the conversation for the Hall of Fame in the major leagues. I don't know if it's just via like we said, media is the one that vote for it, and you have to have 3/4. I mean, it's not even a majority; it's the vast majority now.
Yeah.
So
it's not right. Don't base off 75%.
That's what irks me about it. But and the other thing is that these players meant so much to the game, to me as a player, even continuing on. Like I epitomize Charlie Hustle. Like I got scholarships to play ball in college off of being Charlie Hustle. When I was 10 years old or 8 years old, whenever we first started Kid Pitch, our normal catcher was on vacation. And it was, hey, does anybody else have a cup so they could go catch? So I was like, me? Believe it or not, back then I was a lot smaller. Like I was number 1 or 2 all the time when I was younger. I just kind of took it on. It was just part of the sport. Always do 100%. Always do your best. That's one of the things that he epitomized as a player that should be recognized in the Hall of Fame, but is not, because you've got a silly rule, which is almost absentee now with the span of legalized betting the way it is. We saw Shohei get in trouble for it, but
they'll still put him in somehow.
They just didn't know where the money was coming from because it was over in China.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, I have an all-star here.
Everything's coming now, like this sports betting across the U.S. almost the way it's legalized. It's going to be a big thing. That's going to bring Pete Rose back in.
Absolutely. All right, so I do have an all-star here. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to please, if you can, if you're watching, give my girl a shout out. She played really hard tonight on her game. She is down. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, my baby girl, Addison. Tell everybody what your name is.
My name is Addison.
And I'm a
Sportz Nutz.
Yes, Addison played basketball tonight. Her team did lose, but she's kind of down on it. But I want you guys to let her know that she did really good, if you can, and give her a little pep talk. Coach Shane, give her a little pep talk.
Oh yeah, hey, no matter the outcome of what happened tonight, just realize that you learned something, and that you can get better now. Um, we all go through things in life. I go through them now as an adult. Hey, they're trying times, but as long as you learn to overcome them, those are some of the best life lessons that you'll ever learn.
Absolutely. And Addison, we are proud of you. And like I told you in the car, don't hang your head. Keep your head up. Mommy told me you were crying. Keep your head up. You did good. I am proud of you, baby. Mr. Shane is proud of you. We are all proud of you. And we know you're going to do even better. So just keep your head up, baby, okay?
Yep. Chin up.
Thank you.
As long as you know you did your best and that you did 100%, keep your chin up and let everybody else say what they want to say.
You're a winner in our books, baby. All right. Blow Mr. Shane a kiss.
Night.
And all right, so I wanted to talk real quick. We saw the end to a remarkable college football season last night. And people are saying this left and right, and I'm sure you probably saw it too, Shane. Ohio State bought their championship. $20 million NIL roster, basically, is what it was. And I told you the same. I told you guys, I asked you, who do you think who would win, and how much it hurt me to say this, but I'm saying that Ohio State was going to win. Ohio State got the victory, but let's look at the season as a whole. I want you to give me your first off. Here's what I want you to do this, okay, Shane? Give me your overall grade, A, B, C, D, F for the entire college football season, and then give me your 3 top moments of the college football season.
Well, I give it a good B minus. It's kind of average what we saw. I'd say more of a B because with the transfer portal and everything that came about this year, you saw a lot more disparity between the top teams and the lower teams. Well, not as much disparity, my fault, between the top teams and the lower teams. Like it seems like the gap is closing a little bit due to the transfer portal. Do I think in a couple of years that it's going to be out of control and that you're going to see that disparity come back? I think mainly because media bias and who they're going to put their money into. But that's just kind of what I kind of see. This year was great. I give the season a B. I give the playoffs a C minus.
Always room for improvement.
Why do we have to see conference matchups again in the playoffs? We saw them already. Why do we have to see them again? I think it gives a little bit more kind of authenticity to the playoff. If we had more of that, kind of non-conference matchups, we wouldn't be sitting there talking about, how it went and all that. Because Texas, they played Clemson and then Georgia, who they saw in the SEC championship, and they won it. Those two teams. You could play them 10 times, and I think you'll get five winners one way, 5 winners the other. The way they were. The biggest question was on where do we rate these teams and all that, blah 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 blah. But in the end, we saw the undefeated Big Ten champion go as the number 1 seed. The lowest seed Big Ten team end up winning it all. But what other teams did they play other than a Big Ten team? Texas, who had holes to start with, who Georgia actually ended up beating, throughout the year. You can't say much, but I think that we're at a big crossroads. I say the next 2 years, depending on what the transfer portal situation does, and how they changed that up, which it definitely needs to change to give players the ability to play in bowl games with the brothers that they have come up with throughout years, if not just the season, and then decide whether or not they want to go out and pursue another school, but still be in the transfer portal window where they can be there, first semester during spring and do spring practice. It was a great season. As always, I hate to see it come to an end. But with the college football season coming to an end, means NFL's coming to an end, which means that my sport, the one that lasts the longest throughout the year of any other major sports league,
is knocking on the door
coming up.
Yep.
36 weeks.
Not to mention, folks, catchers and pitchers report I think in the next few weeks. So almost here. Yeah, it's coming. So I'm going to tag along with you on this too. My grade for the overall the entire season, I'd be about a B as well. We saw some really good games, and then we saw some really not so good games. But for the playoffs, I'd say a C- as well, just because you're right. We saw Texas and Georgia play 2 weeks ago. So why are we having to see them again? What are you going to learn in that 2-week difference? You're not really. So I'm not too pleased with how that went. But my top 3 that I would say that I have to say was really good games to watch. Ooh. I would probably have to say, gosh.
No, I didn't even get into that.
I'm gonna say Indiana. I'm impressed with Indiana. They did pretty good stuff this year. I mean, the most wins that they've ever had in a program history happened this year with them. So I tip my cap to them. Heck, we got to see a no-name school like Jacksonville State. They came back into the realm of a bowl game. They got to play in a bowl game. Rich Rodriguez was their head coach. He led them multiple years to successful seasons. He is Rich Rod bolted to go to West Virginia. Tip my cap to Jacksonville State. And I'm going to tip my cap to Matt's team, actually, Georgia Tech. They did more than what they were expected to do. They were expected to win only 4 or 5 games at most. They made it to a bowl game. They knocked off some formidable opponents. They hung tough with some really big opponents. They did knock off Miami from the realms of the unbeatens. They handled Florida State in Ireland. I mean, they did really good things. Tip my cap to them. So I'm excited to see that the 2025 college football season. I know it's going to get better. I know they got to fine tune everything, and they will fine tune everything. What sucks for us as fans though is we have to wait. We have to wait for off seasons, OTAs basically to start for college, and for the NFL is coming to an end as well. So my overall grade, if I want to include regular season, the playoffs, the bowl games, I'm going to give it a B. But always room for improvement. Let's shoot for a higher grade, and we will see what happens. Guys, it's been a really, really good episode. Thank you for letting us bend your ear for an hour and 10 minutes. Look, weather has played a huge role yet again in the South. This is the Southeast, guys. I want to give a shout out to my family in Mobile, Alabama. You got 6.5 inches, the most snow ever recorded in the city. Happened on January 21st, 2025. Congratulations to all my family in Mobile. I'm so glad you guys got the chance to play and enjoy. Uncle Eric, I'm glad you didn't take that polar plunge. As you know, we have heart issues in the family, so they got to build snow angels. Congratulations to them. Hey guys, real quick, give you a rundown of what is going to come. for the next episode. Look, our next episode is going to be on Friday. Friday. This is the big one for Shane, because he is excited. I know he's excited about this. East Carolina University's Pirate Radio. They are going to be coming on and talking some East Carolina athletics, as well as some more college athletics. The college basketball season is getting going. It's getting going good. It's conference time. They're going to talk to us about that. So we are looking forward to have them on. Then on Tuesday, we don't have anybody lined up, but we are close. I promise you guys, you're going to be excited for the next one. We have the end of the year. Brandon, end of the year. January 31st, our good friend Abe Gordon of 92.9 The Game is coming on again to interact with us and give us some quality content like he always does. We have a lot of fun with him. All right, so I'm going to break the news. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a NFL Hall of Famer who is going to be joining our show as a guest. Not one, but multiple. We may have three. At least I think this one is a Hall of Famer. Jamal Lewis was the running back for the Baltimore Ravens. He will be joining us. It looks like it's going to be February the 4th. Him and Coach Swank of the Chamblee High School football program. Coach Swank has hired on NFL Hall of Famer Ed Reed and Jamal Lewis. And both those, Jamal Lewis and Coach Swank, will be on most likely February 4th. We have to reach out to Ed Reed's team to hopefully we can have all three of them on. If we do, we will have Coach Swank, Ed Reed, and Jamal Lewis on at the same time on February the 4th. And we are working, we're trying to see if we can get Ray Lewis on. Yes, I have been in communications with his camp. They have given me days. I got to make sure that those days are good for them. That might be February the 7th. I'm trying to get that locked in. So we'll stay tuned for that one. It's a good opportunity coming. Matt is working on getting some good quality guests coming on. Shane is working on some good things. Hank is really working on some good things. So guys, stay tuned for the Sportz Nutz. We got a lot happening now. And guys, I don't know if you can see it, and I'm going to change. I quickly will change the background picture again. First off, that's our regular logo. But if you guys can see behind us, it is now black and white. Yes, it is an alternate. This is our alternate jersey. So next episode will be back to white, but we wanted to alternate tonight. But guys, we have an outro video which will be airing tonight. Cannot wait for everybody to see it. So for that being said, our good friend Brian Gebhardt for coming on and gracing us with his presence and talking to us about the Atlanta sports world and Major League Baseball, everything. You know, Brian, we have a great time with him always. For our good friend Hank Russell, which Hank, he unfortunately was not feeling very well. But, you know, always a pleasure to have him on and excited about it. Look, Matt, I know guys, I know we wanted Matt to be on, but Matt, again, as you guys saw, he is stuck in the same place on 85 since I think this is now 3 hours. Snowmageddon did happen again in Atlanta. He is stuck in 2.5 inches of snow and ice combined. So, yeah, Matt, charge your phone up, go get some checkers. The best fries in the world. Shout out to the Dominators, my daughter's basketball team. So proud of them. Look, I understand it's okay to lose. You guys are still good. We love you. We are proud of you. We'll see everybody on Sunday at practice. Shane, what do you tell these lovely people?
Hey, man, as always, especially with tonight, y'all stay safe. Get out on the roads if you only have to down here in the South. Hey, man, peace, love, and bacon grease.
Peace, love, and bacon grease. Indeed. Guys, don't get out. It's 8:55 at night. Stay home. Spend time with your family. Look, the kids, they don't have school tomorrow for most of the upstate, if not all the upstate. It's e-learning. Same thing, no school tomorrow, I think, for most of, if not all of Metro Atlanta and southern counties because of the snow and ice that happened. So spend time with your family. Have fun. Stay warm. Stay safe. And Matt would always tell you, don't get flagged. Don't do something stupid. If you're going to drink, stay home. Yes, you'll get flagged, don't you? Have some libations at home. Spend time with your family. Enjoy everything about it. And be safe. Guys, we will see you again on Friday. Remember, the East Carolina University Pirate Radio crew will be joining us. Cannot wait to have them on. Until then, guys, you have a wonderful evening. Stay warm. Peace up. A-Town down. Why? It's the greatest sports city in the towns. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.